One of the interesting things about the Tron franchise is even though the namesake of the IP is Tron, the famous security program isn't the sole focus of the different installments. However, this character has always been an important and beloved part of this storied IP, and no doubt for many fans, the elephant in the room and the biggest questions we have when considering the potential plot structure of Tron Ares is where is Tron and how will he return? After all, you can't call this movie Tron and not have him in it. So ultimately, I can't see this movie doing anything but paving the way for Tron's return. In Tron Legacy, throughout that whole movie, he's been corrupted by Clue. He is Rinsler. And we see him with that epic struggle within to restore his original self, his programming. And he was able to do that. The last we saw of him, he was falling into the sea of simulation. But as we see him sinking into it, his blue lights return, and we never saw him die, even though Kevin Flynn seemingly perished. Obviously, he's returning in some form, so I think it's definitely possible, and I think even more so, for Tron to return. Clearly, things are gonna be bad. They look bad as we see the city streets being invaded by these recognizers and light fighters. The military's response just doesn't seem to be cutting it. So I think you need the help of a certain security program. They have to bring Tron out. And both Flynns, obviously Kevin Flynn and Sam and Cora, can sort that out and defeat the bad programs. And those who would use the programs, the MCP and all of these to their evil intentions. They all have these connections to ENCOM, and the Dillingers are known for absconding with other people's ideas and technology for their own selfish purposes. So maybe it's also the case that Dillinger, in a similar way that Clue turned Tron into Rinsler, maybe something similar happened with Dillinger in turning the root code, I guess, of something similar to Tron, is that security program, into Ares, making it into this full-on military master control program. The name Ares has to be significant to what his goal is. So Screen Rant did this article that was kind of talking about what the trailer means for this new era of the franchise. Tron Ares CinemaCon footage, Jeff Bridges says there's no going back as sci-fi franchise returns for a new era. The Tron movies have previously showcased scenes in the real world prior to the rest of their stories taking place in the digital realm. The typical settings for the films include Tron City, Argon City, and the Grid, with the leap back into the real world something the films haven't explored thoroughly. However, this new footage confirms the series will be moving outside its digital entities into more familiar three-dimensional territory. The blue light has also been replaced by an imposing red, signaling something significant has changed in the grid. The footage also seemed to emphasize Bridges' return, making it the final hook of the upcoming third installment. The real-world elements make this even more interesting, since it seems like he died at the end of Tron Legacy, sacrificing himself to stop Clue. However, his son, Sam, survived, bringing Cora from the digital world with him to reality. While it's unclear if these storylines will continue in Tron Ares, an important explanation will be necessary to explain how Kevin was able to return. I mean, Tron Legacy did pave the way. He downloaded his father's grid onto that flash drive at the end of Tron Legacy. He also said he was taking the company back. So that's definitely going to have to be addressed as to what happened with the state of ENCOM itself. Tron would be in that flash drive too. I mean, for the same reasons that Kevin Flynn can return as a digital entity, and why I think we're going to see multiple grids, the same way it would enable Tron to return. And I think even more so because Tron just sunk down into the sea of simulation. It's not like he was obliterated. So I think his return is just even more likely because of that. He's in Sam's flash drive somewhere. He's got to return. I am curious if we're going to see Alan. He still looks great, so I think he definitely could. I mean, if Jeff Bridges can return as himself, and he looks great too, Bruce Boxleitner definitely can return as both Alan and Tron himself. We've already seen him as Alan. We need to see him as Tron. That's the priority. But you have to address that. He said he was taking ENCOM back. There definitely needs to be something in there about what's happened to the state of the company. Maybe that's what spawned this whole thing. If Sam has taken the company back, what did that mean for the Dillingers? What did that mean for Edward Dillinger Jr. at the time? And what does it mean for this new Dillinger, Julian? Has he been left out in the cold and he wants to reestablish himself in the tech world, kind of in a similar way to Edward Dillinger Sr., and wanting to profit and get into that position of power and influence through other people's technology? Jeff Bridges didn't film for very long. I don't think he's going to have a huge role definitely Evan Peters and Jared Leto are going to have significant time. But like Tron Legacy, Bruce Boxleitner was in it very minimally. So I think the inversion, I think we're due for that, for Bruce Boxleitner to be showcased more significantly this time. It is interesting to see the evolution of this film because it really has been through the ringer. So initially, the third Tron film was set to film around 2015. Right as they were set to begin filming, Disney shut it down, and there were other very high-profile flops at the time. I guess they just didn't think that the risk was worth it, or they didn't think they would get enough revenue from a third Tron film. I don't know. It's disappointing, but that original Tron 3 script, which was called Tron Ascension, this movie is working from that original script. So Ares is actually a leftover from that original script, and obviously the prior name, Tron Ascension, did indicate what they wanted to do with that third installment. There were many rumors of where the story could go from that, whether Kevin Flynn would return, and whether they would explore what life and death means in the digital realm, exploring more of artificial intelligence, and even further, especially with Cora, and seeing what happens with her. In December 2012, Jesse Wugatow reported to be working on that script, and Joseph Kosinski, the director of Tron Legacy, said that the new film would be Tron's Empire Strikes Back. And that's interesting because I do see in the trailer, it does seem to strike that similar tone as that Star Wars film. The Dillinger Grid is getting the upper hand on tech, and obviously they've succeeded in accomplishing their goal. And Clu's original plan in Tron Legacy, he created the perfect system already, and he wanted to bring that to the real world. Out there was his destiny. And that's why he arranged things, kind of lured Sam into the grid, but all to get Kevin Flynn's disc so that he could have that pathway to the real world. That was his ultimate goal. So they were already paving the way for the Empire Striking Back, for them to succeed and come to the real world. So you can say that the recognizer kind of evokes the same tone as the AT walkers on Hoth. That would be kind of cool if that's what he meant by the tone of it. And we do kind of see that. It's kind of grim. It looks like they're invading. They don't have good intentions. So we'll see. It definitely seems to be paving the way for Tron. Joseph Kosinski, this was his initial comments in the Hollywood Reporter talking about that initial script and what his intention was for it. And he said, quote, "I got so close. I really tried. I got close in 2015 and Disney pulled the plug on it. I hadn't built anything, but I had the whole movie storyboarded and written. I was really excited because it was inverting the idea. It was all that stuff coming into our world, and it was about the blending of the two." And obviously that's where they're going with this. So they were working with that original script, and Ares itself, that was a character from it. And that is his intention. He wants to come to the real world. He's searching for something. It is part of whatever directive he's trying to accomplish. It's a do or die mission. And it is interesting that he talks about the blending of the two. So what could that mean? Could there be more programs besides Cora that could now exist in the real world? There's a lot of storytelling potential for this universe and this technology. It does seem that the core of the story, at least, is from that original intention of where they wanted the story to go for this next entry. So obviously there is some changes when it comes to the other characters that are a part of the story, but there is the skeleton of that original script in here. I probably think that Edward Dillinger Jr. was going to be the person initially, but now it's Julian Dillinger, it's Evan Peters. That's where this idea came from. The worlds colliding and the digital realm colliding with the real world and the consequences from that. So that does give me some cautious optimism and could pave the way again for an epic return for Tron. But Garrett Hedlund too, Sam Flynn and Cora, that would be just icing on the cake. That'd be awesome. They just need to have a very significant role. That doesn't necessarily mean they're in it for very long. I think if it just makes sense for Kevin Flynn's return and you don't ruin him in any way, that's great. And if he is in any way connected with the return of Tron, that would be amazing. Please, Tron needs to be in it, and he needs to be awesome, and he needs to save the day. That's all I want. But I'm curious to know how you think Tron should make his grand return in Tron Ares. Are there any theories or ideas you have about how he should come back? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy news, theories, and lore. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, you can leave a super thanks or join as a YouTube member for early access to new videos and other perks. You can also check out my Patreon page for exclusive content. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.